I get asked the question all the time, what is a divorce coach and why would I need this person on my team? So I can explain that. And hopefully, if you have questions, please put them in the chat because I know this is kind of a new thing that is starting to come about in the divorce world. People are understanding what it is. And so here I am going to try to explain a little more clarity for you. So you're in the middle of maybe the most emotional event of your life. The world you know is suddenly changing and you're feeling completely unprepared. You're scared, you're confused, you don't know where to start, or if you're in the middle of the divorce, you may still not understand what the heck is happening. Yet people want you to show up and make decisions that affect you and your family for the rest of your life, all while this shitstorm is happening. So sorry you've been married 20 years and it's over, but we need to know what you're doing with the house and the debt and everything else. Your brain is flooded, your heart is broken, you're about to throw in the towel, everything is just too much. This is when people start making mistakes. They start making decisions out of fear and heightened emotions, and they don't pause and think. They don't process what they've been told, and they don't understand options, that there might even be options. They just want it to be over. I want it done. This is where a certified divorce coach can help. So I get the pleasure of providing personalized support before, during, and after a divorce to help clients navigate the process. They're going to be more clear, they're going to have more confidence, they're going to be emotionally ready, and there's going to be less conflict. Less conflict can mean a quicker agreement. So remember that. And how you handle and receive conflict makes a huge difference in your divorce. So my goal is to help clients engage productively in every stage of the divorce process so they can move into their next chapter with strength and peace and even knowledge. Knowledge is power, and I'll get back to that in a little bit. But to put it simply, I help you show up and participate appropriately in your divorce. So a certified divorce coach can help you clarify your goals and values and priorities, and they keep you moving forward. You might start veering off the path. We're going to bring you back on. We're going to remind you, hey, you said 2 weeks ago that you really cared, only you cared about was the kids, and now you're telling me all you care about is the house. Let's talk about that. We recognize emotional, excuse me, triggers and fears and sources of conflict. And you're going to learn healthy ways to manage those. So the stay-at-home mom who's fearful that she's not going to be able to afford to live on her own, we're going to work on that. The husband who says, when my wife says, fill in the blank, it drives me crazy and I lose it. We're going to work on what is it, why is it, and how to not have that happen when you're going through a divorce and trying to make these decisions. I teach communication skills and conflict resolution, and I will tell you, communication and conflict are the two things that destroy a divorce and make it cost more and last longer. We prepare for conversations with your spouse and your children and your attorney and mediators. Those conversations can be really hard. The one that you tell your spouse, I want a divorce. Sometimes we will role play. Sometimes we'll come up with a script. It just depends on what works best for you. Next slide, please. We get organized and prepared for consultations with attorneys and other professionals. You might have a child and family investigator. You might have to talk to the mediator. You might have a deposition. These are things that we would get you organized for. When you're going to talk to an attorney and interview an attorney, you want to have a list of appropriate questions. Some consultations are not free. If you're paying for it, get your money's worth and get something done and have a list of everything that you're wanting to know. We create realistic and thoughtful proposals for things like parenting plans or division of assets or mediation or depositions or hearings or final agreements. I say realistic and thoughtful. It's not, I just want the rocking chair because it's going to piss her off. No, that's adding conflict. So we're going to work on that type of stuff. Also, I connect you to these wonderful divorce professionals, like the people that are sitting here tonight. It does reduce cost, it does reduce confusion, and it does help put your case on track to not last for years and years and years. I stay in my lane. What you need to know is that a divorce coach is not a therapist or a counselor. We're not an attorney and we're not a financial advisor. And that's super important because a lot of people will say, oh, you're a counselor. I'm not a counselor. I'm not going to go back. We're not going backwards. We're not working on why your childhood was the way it was. We're forward focused. Divorce coaches are always forward focused. We always stay in our lane. I'm not giving you legal advice. If you need legal advice, I'm going to send you to an attorney. I'm going to put you in the right direction to get that legal advice. Same thing with the financial stuff. I'll send you to CDFA or a financial advocate. I'm not going to do cross that line. So rather than telling you what to do, a divorce coach helps guide you through the process of self-discovery and strategic thinking and informed decision making. Again, knowledge is power. You have the answers. You may not feel like you do right now. I know I've been there, but you do. And you know your family better than anyone. And yes, you should have a say in your divorce. It's important that when you work with a divorce coach, you're going to gain the tools and knowledge to move through your divorce efficiently. Always think about, kind of playing off of what Rachel said, when you hire a contractor, say, to remodel your kitchen, you don't hire them and say, you know what, I'm going to remodel the kitchen, do whatever you want to do, and I hope and I'll love it for the years to come. When you remodel your life, which is what you're doing in a divorce, you want to have a say. And a divorce coach helps with that. Next slide, please. After working with a certified divorce coach, you're going to be better able to engage in productive and respectful communications. And that might be with your boss, with your family, whomever, your co-parent. You're going to trust your judgment again, and you're going to make informed, well-reasoned decisions instead of reacting from fear or uncertainty. And you're going to be prepared, feel prepared for what's coming up. You're going to know how to negotiate what you want at mediations, and there's going to be greater clarity and composure. You're going to be emotionally regulated. You're not going to be all over the board. There's going to be some rhyme and reason to how you present what you're wanting. So the result is a stronger sense of control of your divorce. You're going to have confidence back in yourself and a readiness for your new remodeled life. So if you're tired of the way your divorce is going, or you want to be smart about your divorce and how to go that route, hire a divorce coach and change how you show up for your divorce. I will tell you that divorce coaches, you need to make sure they're certified, whoever you do hire. There's a lot of training that goes into it to get the certification. Just because you went through a divorce does not make you a divorce coach. So be careful with that. That is my little, be careful and find out the education the person had before you hire them.
Before you go on, I just want to share a little story about you, if that's okay. So finish your
Yeah.
slide, but I wanted to share a little something.
No, I'm good. Go for it.
So, and I share this, and I want this to be a vulnerable time because I think sometimes stories help. And my daughter happened to have Karen walk with her through, and is walking with her through, a divorce right now. And I will tell you, just to have that person, it can't be mom, because mom's a basket case. Let's just go there for a minute. And I want to rip his throat out. But Karen can talk both of us off a cliff. And although I didn't hire Karen to be my divorce coach, I feel like she's coaching me as well. Because there's times where, to watch my daughter navigate domestic violence, and to watch her navigate very, very hard things, and watch my grandkids go through things, to have a Karen on my side. And even though she didn't know that this was doing, like, it brings tears to my eyes as I speak about it, but to watch her walk with my daughter and to give my daughter that hand. My daughter calls me and goes, Mom, if it wasn't for Karen, I think I'd be losing my mind. And so I say that because it's really important that people know that it's an extension of who you are, and it gives you kind of the ability to breathe. And I've watched my daughter go, Karen's going to tell me what to do. It's going to be fine. Mom, just let me get my, I got to get re-regulate, or what's the word that she uses? I got to get regulate, something like that. Anyway, but I just want you guys to know, like, I share the story, not because I totally want to air all my dirty laundry out, but divorce happens, and it happens to be happening to my 27-year-old. And if I would have gone through my divorce with a Karen, it would have been very different. And I just highly recommend find someone that you trust.
I appreciate that. And I feel the same way about my divorce. My divorce wasn't bad, it was the aftermath of the divorce. And a lot of people don't realize there's help after divorces. And mine would have been completely different. That post-decree time when I was raising kids and trying to co-parent, mine, it would have been completely different had I had somebody like myself.
Yeah. And there is a question in the chat, but we're going to wait to the end to answer the questions, but keep sending them. I want you guys to keep putting them in there. And then Karen, I'm going to let you introduce the next person.
I think the next person is you, Brandy.
Let me introduce me. Hi, friends. So the financial professional, there is a lot of different things that you can look at here. And our mission here is to help you make informed financial decisions during one of the most impactful transitions of your life. And I love that we have this theme of having a general contractor. When I went through my divorce, and I'll be transparent, I went from being a stay-at-home homeschool mom, making no dollars, but didn't worry about dollars because my job was to run the household. His job was to bring in the dollars. And that was our agreement. Never in a million years, through the faith in God and all the things that I believed, did I think I was ever going to get a divorce. And as I started getting sicker and sicker and going through a lot of abusive situations, and I still didn't know I was married to a narcissist, but whatever. Apparently I was brilliant. But when I went through said divorce, I realized, oh my gosh, I have no skills. I've stayed home for 21 years raising kids. Actually, it was longer than that. But I needed some skills here. And this is what threw me into the throes of doing the financial portion of divorces, and why I walk with women and men, is to help them understand what is the full picture. There's assets, there's debts, there's income, there's retirement, there's a home, as Rachel will talk about in a minute. How do we avoid emotional decisions that are driven by fear, guilt, urgency, or anger, right? And I'm not going to dive into a lot of it, but it's all the stuff that you don't know you're going to feel, right? You go into it and you'll hear people say, oh, we agree, it just doesn't work out anymore, and I'm going to take the house and he's going to take everything else. I have dealt with so many women who will just give things up, and I was one of them. I can talk about this from personal experience. I was so tired of being in mediation for 9 hours, paying my attorney $450 an hour and the judge, while my ex cried to the judge, and the judge tried to talk me into going back to this man. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, why don't you marry him? Because I'm done. You got to stop. But what I didn't understand is when I gave up my maintenance, because I was so done of that 9 hours in mediation, it cost me a lot later. And it was the wrong thing to do. And if I would have had a Karen or a Nate or even a Rachel to tell me what to do with the house, I couldn't afford the house. This was a 6,000 square foot home. It was $3,500 a month. And by the way, I was a stay-at-home homeschool mom, right? And so all of my decisions were exhaustion. I was so tired of making decisions that I needed someone just to put the math on paper. Here's what I love about math. It can't lie, and it's not gray. Well, maybe algebra can be, but most math, right? It is one of those things where it's like 1 + 2 = 3. In every language, across every country, in all of the world, it's the same number. It might be said differently, but it's the same number. 1 and 2, 1 + 2 is 3. And so we want to make sure that when you're going through divorce, know what you can realistically afford. I had a client the other day go, "Oh, the money will just come." I don't believe in budgeting. Okay, great. Did you know you're losing $150,000 a month? You have to really know what's going to happen, because hope is not a plan. We call that hopium. And hope is not a plan. You have to really know. We want you to organize your cash flow. I always recommend getting a pre-divorce budget. Like, know what's happening now, because oftentimes, and I'll say this for women, it's not everyone, but you'll notice that the women are raising the house. I was selling burritos with my kids and coaching their soccer. I wasn't doing the bills. I didn't do the taxes. I had no logins to any of the accounts, nothing. We didn't have a 401k. What were you talking about? So to get it organized beforehand is really important, but you often don't know what to find. And if you're in an abusive relationship, you probably don't have any access. So having someone to tell you what to look for, where to get it, what's important, it's very, very good. Hold on, I can change the slide. I can. There we go. Protecting your financial future. This is one thing, and Allison will talk about this as well, is that not all assets are equal. $300,000 from the sale of your home is not the same as a $300,000 401k. Why? Well, taxes come into play. How you receive it. Are you old enough to receive it? There's a lot of things that come up. What's a quadro or QDRO? You'll hear it said both ways. And why do you need it? Well, it's going to cost you some money, so be prepared. But what are the impacts? And does it make sense to pay the money to get that drawn up? Or does it make sense to go, well, maybe I'll take this cash account over here? How do you work with investments that came from inherited investments? How do you make real estate decisions? And I still don't know all of that. That's why we have a Rachel. How do you evaluate the settlements with long-term affordability in mind, right? When you want to build a realistic post-divorce budget. So tomorrow you're retired. I almost said retired. I talk about retirement a lot, but let's say tomorrow you're done with your divorce. So for me, it was June 20th. And that day I went, okay, I felt this sense of relief and I felt free. But my spending habits had to change. That income was no longer there. If you do not know, after coming out of this heavy decision making, overwhelming, feeling like you're making all the decisions time, into a life where, yeah, you may be free, but you're not really free. You can't go buy all the games, and you can't go buy a new Lexus, and you can't spend all the money that you did on the kids, because now you're in a really tight budget. And this is where I see women and men fail, is they keep living the same lifestyle when really a divorce causes you a 45% decrease in the lifestyle that you have. Okay, so all of the stuff that we're going to talk about, I'm going to fly through this because I want to make sure that we give Allison a lot of time to talk, but we want to recreate a retirement strategy, right? Again, hope is not a plan. Our whole nation is not educated on finance. You never learn it in school. In middle school, high school, elementary, you might have counted some dimes and nickels, but when you go through retirement, you don't plan for it when you're 65. You plan when you're younger. So if you're in your 30s going through a divorce and you're splitting, 401ks and stuff, you need to know, are you on track? And if you're not, how can we get you there? And this is one of the things in the financial industry that I really struggle with, is that we tell people we're going to get them to retire at 65, except how much does it take? How much do you need? And who's teaching it? And how do you prepare for inflation? There's so many things you need to know. And then this goes into gray divorce. It's on the rise. I have a client right now, 78 years old. Her husband cheated on her, went to a 20-year-old woman. And I'm not laughing. Please know that didn't mean, it came out funny because you don't think it's going to happen in that age. And she is literally thankful he's gone. But at now she's at this divorce age and she's like, am I supposed to date? What am I supposed to do? So again, divorce coach can help with that. But reviewing Social Security. A lot of people don't know, and this is a big deal, is that my ex-husband, right, if I never get married again, I'm entitled to 50% of Social Security. You need to know these rules and regulations and these laws. But let me tell you, the government is not going to call you and go, hey, I'm going to pull someone. Hey, Annabelle, I just want you to know that just because your husband and you never got remarried, you get half the Social Security. They're not going to call you. You got to be informed of these things, and that's where a financial professional can help you. Planning for education, estate updates, beneficiary changes. One of the things that I see that's a really big deal is if your spouse is close to retirement, and part of your settlement is part of their retirement that they can't touch or whatever, or they're giving you maintenance over a course of time, sometimes a life insurance policy will cover that gap. So if he passed away and you're expecting $5,600 a month, If he goes away, so does your income. And now what are you going to do? But these are the things that financial professionals will help you figure out. So we want you to get your confidence back, not in the professional, but in your ability to step up and run your life the way that you choose to do so. It is so empowering. And I remember it all. And goes back to me, and not to make it about me, but the day that every tie was cut from my, and it's going to make me cry, but every tie was cut from my ex-husband. He couldn't control me with the kids anymore. They were grown. He couldn't control me because I sold the house. He couldn't control me because I doubled his income. And I quote, he goes, "You'll never make it on 60% of my income." And I went, "No, I'm going to triple your income." And I did. And I say that because when you get the right professionals that believe in you, you don't have to spend all your brain power trying to make those decisions. You get to trust the professionals, make decisions on educated information, and then you get to start and begin again with you not being so depleted. So this is why we're doing this. You'll notice we're gonna keep doing this podcast because we want you guys to hear these things. But now we're going to talk about what Rachel does. Rachel. So Rachel Demian, let me just talk about her real fast because I freaking adore her. We met on accident, and you know how there's those God things. She's one of those God people in my life that she showed up and she's bubbly and fun, and every time we're together, she's also a wealth of information. And what I loved about Rachel is that her passion was so big about helping families that anytime I call, whether she's getting the client or not, she will stop everything to help me figure out how to best help this client. So you don't think you need a certified divorce real estate expert, but Rachel's going to tell you why you do, or might, right? Rachel, are you there?
I am.
All right.
So, certified divorce real estate expert is that's what I am, and we are neutrals. It's something that is relatively new to the field of family law. Um, I think we've been around for about 8 or 10 years, something like that. I have been a certified divorce real estate expert for about 5-ish years. So we're neutrals. Um, Essentially, my job is to protect the equity in the home. I don't take sides with one party or the other. Best case scenario for me is to be appointed or named in the orders when it comes to the sale of the home. Now, before even talking about that, I really love the idea of families being able to keep the home, of one party or the other being able to keep the home. But before spending a ton of time and money fighting over who's going to keep the home, it's always a good idea to find out if that's even a possibility. Because the last thing that we want is for you to be house poor and then regret keeping the home. Um, there are a lot of things to consider, such as can you qualify for the mortgage? What how much is the mortgage? Are you able to afford it and still have a life outside of that? So, I'm not going to necessarily read off the slide. These are some of the things that I do that I work on. My goal, like I said, is to protect the equity. I don't have one party or the other. I never communicate together with the two spouses who are separating because that's already a source of conflict, and I don't want to add more fuel to that fire. So I communicate equally, but never together, just because I don't want to cause any additional issues. But before, so just kind of going through this, understanding affordability. Now, I'm not a mortgage person, but I am able to connect you to lenders who specialize in the divorce field. They'll be able to help you look at like the 636 rule and various other things, requirements, and what it's going to look like if you do take over the mortgage, or if you have to refinance. They can also help you with buyouts and whatnot. During the process, um, that's where I basically do everything I can to prevent the derailing of the sale of the house. Um, there's oftentimes one party or the other that will try to stall, and my job is to keep it going forward and to get the sale done if that's the option that you end up having to take. Um, and Coordinating all of the things that go along with it. I'm not your typical real estate agent in the divorce realm, in that I take a lot of notes. I have to have a lot of notes just in case I end up having to go to court to testify about what has happened during the process of trying to sell the home. So it's it's important to have someone, I like to say, you wouldn't go to a podiatrist if you had a heart attack. You would go to a cardiologist, not a foot doctor. So that's the same sort of thing here. But again, like I said, I really love when people are able to keep the home. Brandy has called me a couple of times to run title to see if there are any outstanding liens or unknown liens against property. And that's something that I can contact my title rep and say, hey, we need this. And they usually get it over to me within a day or two. So it's good to know what's on title so that when you go to either refinance into your name or sell the home, you know how that's going to impact uh, the equity and whatnot. So hopefully that was clear.
Yeah, that was very good. Very,
So
very good.
I'm sorry, our next person, um, um, Allison, she likes to look at divorce a little bit differently. She helps with gathering the financial documents and then just how divorce in general is handled outside of court. It's not for everyone, but for those folks who are able to do it, it is absolutely phenomenal. So, Allison, without further ado.
Thank you, Rachel. Hi, everyone. Collective deep breath. Woo, we're learning a lot and there's so much great information. Thank you guys, all of you, this team, for walking alongside these individuals because I have been there and I needed you. I didn't know all of you existed until now, and I'm thankful to know you. And we do work hard to get the word out on how we can help people get through this process, get on the other side more easily. So thank you for letting me join you tonight. And again, yes, I'm Allison Terrell. I live over in North Carolina, so I'm in a little bit of a different world over here, but um, a little bit of background on me. I have three boys, 17, 15, and 2. I had him after my unwanted divorce, and so I'm here to tell you that there are big plans for you after this that you might not even know of, and I can't wait to see that for you. But back in 2020, similar to a Lifetime movie, I was blindsided with infidelity and a global lockdown. So I was not the financial person in my marriage. And then all of a sudden, I had to know everything about my finances. Thankfully, I had a beautiful friend who worked for an attorney, who her name is Joy. She drove down with 2 bags of groceries, sent me out of the house, and organized all of my finances. Put them in a box that was a file cabinet and said, take this to your attorney. And she proceeded to help me all the way through my 3.5 year divorce. And honestly, I don't know how it would have gotten through without her. And at the end of that, my attorney said, you know what? You have to help people the way Joy helped you. So here we are. That's what we do. Phoenix Financial Advocates, we try to bring a little bit of joy to you, which is navigating every financial aspect, because all of the attorneys I visited with, they kept saying, well, Allison, at the end of the day, it's just a math problem. And I was like, great. That was my worst subject. And it did, my future life depended on it, but I didn't know where to find the things. I didn't know what was being hidden from me. I didn't know what retirement accounts or investment accounts were best. So that's really what we do. So we work alongside people like Brandy. While we do not manage wealth, that is her. She's the future. We are the nitty gritty in the moment, helping you with all of those things. So if that is something that stresses you out, we do try to feel like, where can we help you? We work alongside attorneys all the time, because they will tell you they do not specialize in the finances. So we can do that at hopefully a much lower cost. Our goal is to streamline the cost and help you get the information you need on the table so that equitable distribution is as fair as possible. So what that means is we can help you find out how much your life costs. We can help you fill out the worksheets if you need that. We have flat fee services like, can you keep the house? Settlement review. We can also come up with settlement solutions. I call it the HGTV effect, where we can come up with, option A, B, and C, things that you're all okay with, but might help negotiate to get you across that finish line. And then also, if you have a personal business, we have business valuation partnerships, because that matters. And you probably will be told that a business isn't worth anything. We can help you find out the true numbers because that matters. And our goal is, like I said, is like all of these individuals, put you in contact with the right people. If we can't do it, we try to be that financial hub. We'll get you somebody who can, and for the lowest price possible. Also, another thing we can do is we can find hidden assets. You don't always need the high price forensic accountant with that high retainer. We can do a lot of that finding. We have an asset search that's flat fee. You would need, your ex's permission to run that search. But tell everyone that because we get yeses more than you would think. If they say no, that's a big red flag, and we can still find it. We just will have to go a different route. But there are easier ways. If there are things that aren't showing up in discovery that you need to find out, they're encouraged by attorneys to say yes to us. So that is what Phoenix Financial Advocates does. We start out with a free consultation with me. So please reach out. And then our next step, we do a baby bite approach. So we have an empowerment session. The next, it's an hour-long strategy session with my partner, Courtney McClellan. And we can try to give you a lot of those, helping you know your rights. These are the things we try to do to help change your posture in that conversation while you're talking to your spouse, or your spouse is talking to you and telling you this is this and that is that. We try to help you know what you can expect and try to get you moving in the right direction. So with that being said, thankfully, we were introduced to an incredible attorney who loved what we were doing. And she had been thinking of a brainchild for a while because she was a litigator. She was in the courtroom, a family law attorney for over 20 years. She actually experienced her own divorce sitting on the stand in the same courtroom that she typically represented families. And she was up there crying, and she said, there has got to be a better way, especially with the cost factor and the emotional factor and how it can tear families apart. She knew there had to be a better way. And she couldn't quite bring it to fruition because of that financial piece until she met us. So back in 2023, we launched Soul Agree, and that's SOLAGRRAREE. It's a combination of Amanda's children's middle names, Solomon and Grace, and it also kind of sounds like let's all agree. And what it is a 3-step out of court option that is governed by attorneys in the state that you live in. And what I love about it is that it's flat fee, it's private, it's virtual, and it's faster. So this can be done in months instead of years. And the first step is organization with a CDFA, or a parenting coordinator to help with the parenting side of it. We have a parenting track. The second step is mediation, which we try to help you agree as far as you can with a licensed attorney in your state. And then the third step is arbitration. If you cannot agree all the way, instead of that mediation failing, and then you having to redo it, and just like Brandy was saying, spend all that money, or go to court, then it switches to arbitration. And an arbitrator is a licensed attorney and or a retired judge that hears both sides and then will make the award based on the laws of the state and the situation at hand. And what's interesting about this is that you and your ex will agree to this process at the beginning and sign that binding arbitration agreement. And that is what makes Soul Agree the only way to guarantee that you will stay out of court throughout this process. We've also added a divorce coach process with Karen. Karen's one of our, she's been in our trainings and on our panel, that we do agree at the beginning, let's get your mind right. So we truly believe in the team approach, that you need every aspect to be addressed so you can get through this process more easily. But what's great about Soul Agree is that right now it's about $5,000 per person to be done all the way through. And we're really excited to offer a cost predictable, time predictable option that can hopefully get you on the other side of this a little bit more easily. So that's a little bit about Soul Agree. I think there's one more slide. Oh, it's no, I get to introduce Nathan. Okay, wait. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I also have an incredible divorce encouragement group on Facebook. It's called Dealing with Divorce and Encouragement Group, and we offer free webinars and free sisterhood and free, a great place to ask questions. So I'd love for you to join that as well. But it's important for me to make you feel like you're not alone in this process. Um, and so that's a little bit about me, but I am so excited that I get to be the one that introduces Mr. Nathan Dowell, who has been practicing family law for over 26 years. And like all of the panelists here, he has a heart to help you get on the other side of this. And he said at the, I love it. I asked him why he does this, what is his why about doing this. And he said, there are people that can make this process worse, but there are definitely people that can make this process better. And he is one of them. And I am so excited to introduce Nathan Dowell, and he can share a little bit more as a family law attorney and how he can help.
Thank you, Allison. That is true. I've been doing this for about 26 years. It is true that people, particularly attorneys, can make the process better and can make the process worse. And it is very important, I think, just from a human perspective, to be able to help people get through this process. Um, yeah, I think like it says at the probably on the last slide, not only to get through the process and survive the process, but to thrive on the other side. Um, I did have, just as a tidbit, I had Karen as my paralegal for a number of times. Um, and I guess I wasn't even planning on saying this, but Karen was the paralegal at the time I went through my divorce. So I've had Karen's divorce coaching experience on many levels. I will get clients that call in and they will be distraught. And I don't necessarily like dealing with that so much, but Karen is in her element when she gets on the phone with people or when she sits down in the conference room with people who are emotional and a wreck. And yeah, Karen even went into a restroom at the courthouse one time and consoled a client who was lying on the bathroom floor crying. Yep. So Karen's amazing. Anyway, so building your tribe, that's what we're calling this. And I think building your tribe begins the moment the instant you realize, or hopefully it does, the instant you realize that a divorce is coming, whether you're choosing to travel that route or whether someone has made that decision for you. Last time we talked about preparing for a divorce. We talked about the importance of contacting financial experts early, talked about the importance of contacting an attorney early, considering your home, what you want to do with your home. Do you want to keep it? Building a support network, not only those who are emotionally invested in your life, your family and your friends, but those who care about the outcome, care about preparing you, but aren't necessarily emotionally invested. Someone like Karen who can give you that fantastic advice. And we could add today, thank you, Allison, the importance of looking into alternatives to this typical file for divorce, go to the courthouse, hammer it out, see who survives. I say typical, it's not typical. Quite honestly, I'd settle probably 80% of my cases. But those 20%, those are tough. And even the 80% are tough. You're still going through a lot. So everyone here can be a productive and helpful member of your tribe, and everyone here can help me as an attorney help you navigate this process to achieve that goal that we want, which is to thrive at the end. So the role of an attorney. The way I view it is I want my primary job, obviously, is an advocate for you. I have to advocate for you. I do so ethically. I do so with respect for the legal system. And in a divorce, I understand that I'm dealing with people who are at heightened emotional state and in an unbelievably vulnerable point, or at an unbelievably vulnerable point in their lives, both financially and emotionally. And my goal and my job is to get you through the process to set you up for success moving forward. One question that's regularly asked is, do you need an attorney? Do I need an attorney? Um, on my slide, it says yes. I'd put yes with an asterisk because um, attorneys come, well, how attorneys help you and how they can help you varies depending on the complexity of your case. At a minimum, even if you are in the most amicable divorce ever, at a minimum, you want to consult with an attorney at the beginning to kind of set you on the right path. And you want to have an attorney at the end um, reviewing agreements that you enter into. I can't tell you how many times I've received agreements after the fact, um, along with complaints about how difficult it is to implement, or about how many loopholes the other side has found. Uh, and quite honestly, it costs more to fix the problem than it would have cost had you paid for an attorney at the beginning. But anyway, what do attorneys do? What do I do? Um, I want to learn the case. I want to know what the relevant facts are. I want to know about you. I want to know about your family's history. I want to know about your children. I want to know the property that we're going to be dealing with. I want to know the finances for issues like support. The earlier I can get that information, the better, obviously. Um, Next step is to analyze the case, to look at the law, apply that to your facts, figure out a best case scenario for you, figure out a worst case scenario for you, figure out what's reasonable, what's unreasonable, sit down and have these conversations with you, create a plan moving forward. How do you achieve that plan? I'm sorry, how do you achieve a plan, a parenting plan that's in your children's best interests? An attorney will bring in experts, bring in witnesses. You might need some help on working with those experts. How do you sit down with a family investigator and really convey your story, not get caught up in your emotions so much that you can't talk? How do you prepare yourself for that? How do you respond more throughout your case and react less? Something Karen can help you with. And frankly, everybody here in their specific area can help you with. I think about what's the best way to divide the property, weighing the options with the client. Do you want the home and the equity in the home, or do you want some cash? Do you want investment accounts, or do you want retirement dollars? Retirement dollars. Do you want to sell the house? Rachel, Brandy, Allison, help us with investment dollars, retirement dollars. I think someone mentioned in earlier conversation, restricted stock units, stock options, things like that. They're all complex. I can guide my clients through these things. I know what to write. I know what to argue to get them divided. But how I know what the best way for that to happen is, that's the tribe. What is support going to look like? I can give you my thoughts. I can look at the scenario. I can analyze the scenario. I can learn the judge, or I can know who the judge is, and I can say, here's what I think your best case scenario is. Here's what I think your worst case scenario is. And then you ask the question, how can I live? Yeah, I don't know. But Brandy does, Allison does, and they're going to help you. That's your tribe. And they give me the information that I can then present to the court, or I can use to implement a negotiation strategy. Okay, we've created a plan. We've started down that path. We got to implement that plan. I can advocate for you in court. I can advocate for you in mediation. I can advocate for you in negotiations. I'm talking about myself, but divorce attorneys can. And quite honestly, at the beginning of the case, when you are looking for an attorney, take your time. I mean, Don't take a ton of time, but take your time. Talk to a few, see which one matches your demeanor, see which one makes you feel comfortable, see which one you trust. Um, I mean, I think all attorneys are pretty trustworthy. So that's that was a joke. Unmute and laugh. Sorry. Anyway,
I was
implementation.
laughing with you, Nathan. I promise. I was like that. He's cracking us up over here.
Okay, so fully implementing that plan, it does require your group of support, your support group, your tribe. And as you approach the end, um, effectuating those agreements that you reach, hopefully, effectuating those court orders. Um, as an attorney, I can tell you, here's what your parenting plan requires you to do. I can't help you deal with the emotion that comes along with that parenting plan. Could be that the other parent is, in your eyes, not a very good parent, and your children are going to be harmed if they have to spend more than, I don't know, 24 hours with him or her. But the court just ordered a 50-50 parenting time schedule. I can tell you you have to comply, but I can't support you emotionally as you navigate that on a day-to-day basis. But people in your tribe can. Um, I can advise you on the requirements of the that are associated with the division of property. Um, I can tell you you have to sell your home, but I can't do it. Someone like Rachel can. I can advise you on how to make sure those accounts are divided. But I can't tell you what you need to do next to make sure that you have an appropriate financial circumstance moving forward. But we have people here who can, and you will have tribe members who do that. Um, Similarly, I can advise you on how much you have to pay or how much you're going to receive in your support. I can work with you on implementing that, but I can't advise you on what to spend. I can't advise you on your lifestyle. So all that's to say, um, the tribe is of the utmost, and developing it early is of the utmost importance if you want to get through this process. I'm going to say it efficiently, um, despite best efforts. And when I hear about a 3.5 year divorce, I'm sure there were some best efforts, but despite best efforts, sometimes that doesn't happen. Um, but I would like to think that if I can work with a client who is receiving the support that we're talking about here, I can help him or her so much better than someone who's not prepared to navigate the process, because then it becomes what does Nate think is best? Um, and that's, it should be pretty good, but it's not the best when it comes to finances. You know your children more than I do. It's not the best when it comes to parenting time. Being, calm and um, less reactive, and that's how we navigate this process. And having a support team will help you do that. So anyway, that's the end of my spiel.
That was good, and I will tell you, just if we want to go one more one more step. Nathan was also my daughter's divorce attorney, and the combination of the two, Nathan's calming demeanor and you guys, we all got real quiet. We all got real focused. Did you notice that? And the way that he speaks to a room, he's also like 6'8". He's huge,
Just
but
6'6".
I'm just okay. 6'5". What are you? 6'4"?
6'6".
See, I told you he's huge. But the way that he's so calm in his demeanor, I remember my daughter walked in and I have a lot of divorced people that attorneys that I would have her talk to. And she goes, nope, he's the one. And this isn't about us selling ourselves. That's not our goal here. Our goal is for you to understand how it works. And so when we're infiltrating our stories, understand that Nathan may not be the one for you. I may not be the one for you. Karen or Allison or Rachel, but understand that there are people out there, and you have to find those people, and you have to know how to put that slide, that portion of your life together. It's not forever, but I like that it does say that your tribe stays with you through conclusion and beyond. As I watch Karen walk with my daughter, as I watch, just different families that we've dealt with and we've helped together as a team, they become part of our tribe too. And so as we move through this, like what Allison has done, I love that because she has a support group. We're creating something similar here in Denver, but we want people to understand that it's there and that you can do some things. Here's everybody's contact info. Take a screenshot if you want it. And each week, what we want you guys to know is it's always a different topic, and I'm going to leave this up for just a little bit longer. But our topics are meant to do things that help you guys understand what you need. I'm going to leave this up, and then I'm going to answer questions or talk about the questions we have in the chat. The first one for you, Karen: how is a divorce coach compensated for their service? And this could be a two-part answer. It can be how you're paid if you're working with Allison's group, and how you're paid separately as an independent.
What I do is I do free consultations, and then I charge 125 an hour, but I have package deals. If you buy a certain amount, it lessens the cost of it. So it's more beneficial to buy a package versus the hourly rate or their one-time meeting. And we usually need to meet more than one time for sure. But yeah, so and I do take in consideration your financial situation at times too. So don't let that number not have you at least have a consultation with me.
Yeah, good. And the next question, and Allison, if you want to add something to that, because I know that comes with a package deal on your deal, so I think it's kind of is it put into the package? Is that the way I understand it to be?
Yes, with Soul Agree, we do have a starter session, like a 1 hour credit for use with a divorce coach. So if you're working with Karen, she'll be yours. And then we also, if they don't have a divorce coach, we assign things to coaches like Karen. So yes, that would be a
Good.
part of the process.
And this next question, and this is going to be the best question to hear y'all answer because we're all going to think it's us. So the next one is, Karen, are you the best person to start with? Well, here's the answer. Maybe. The answer is maybe. If you're having a nervous breakdown, call Karen. Because talking about finance isn't going to help. But if you're at this place that you don't know how to make your ends meet and you can't buy groceries, you might want to call me. You might want to call Allison and go, let us get you organized. Let's just sit down and make a budget for you. But if
Yeah.
you're at this place that you have a crazy psycho husband or wife, right? You might want to call Nathan first to go, what do I do? Because I feel like I don't know what's legal. I don't know what's, we saw a post today on Facebook where this lady goes, he's taking all this and he's taking all that and I have no money and I can't, call Nathan, get the law on your side because he can do things and start getting things moving for you. If you're just, let's say you got a sweet little gushy ex-husband, you just don't love him anymore, things happen and he just won't move out of the house. Well, call Rachel and go, Rachel, can I own it? Brandy, can you give me a budget? Is this even worth it? So the answer is go with your gut. And if you don't know, call. If it's one of these people that you're talking to and you feel safe calling one of us, call one of us and we'll direct you if you can't make decisions because that happens as well.
Well, I
And
think
go ahead.
to add to that, like you can call. I think you're exactly right, Brandy. I mean, whatever is the most important thing at that very moment, that's what you do because everybody here, and you have options everywhere. Of course, we're not the only people, but we're just talking about ourselves. But everybody here knows everybody here. So if you call me because, oh my gosh, I just found out I'm getting a divorce, we're going to have a conversation. And part of that conversation is going to be, mm, I'll say it a little more delicately than this, but whoa, you need to calm down. Talk to Karen. Or Yeah, that's a scary proposition. I don't know how you can deal with that particular asset. So call it Brandy, or Rachel, or Allison, whatever the case may be. But we're all that's the whole point of having a tribe is we're all integrated together and we can all refer everybody to where they need to go.
Yeah. And we're going to run a little bit over. If you have to log off, please feel free to do so, but try to stay. We just have a couple more minutes. There's one more question in here. And you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We had our numbers up. If you want me to go back, I'll put them back up if you have just something that you didn't want to share with the world. And that's okay too. But one of the questions was directed to you, Nathan. You represent one party only as an exclusive advocate as opposed to a consultant or coach, correct? And in the capacity of the courtroom, question mark.
Yeah. 100% correct. I am an attorney. My number one job is to advocate zealously for my client within the divorce process. I integrate a lot more than just that zealous, aggressive advocacy. Um, but yes, number one, I have to be ethical. Number two, I have to advocate solely for my client.
Okay, so I'm.
Anywhere,
Oops,
my
sorry.
office, my office, mediation, courtroom, anywhere.
That's good. That's really good. So, if you're on this call and you're from another state, because we have put this out into other states, Allison's team is nationwide. I am nationwide. Karen is nationwide. Nathan and Rachel are specific to Colorado, but don't let that be a reason not to call us. If you have a question, I can assure you Nathan's gone to school with other people that are in other states, and if he has a recommendation, he can send you somewhere. Allison has a whole loop of people that she can connect you with, and so don't be afraid. Like the biggest thing that I see, especially with women, men don't ask for direction, but women don't ask for help. So call and start asking questions.
Yeah.
Allison, now you're going to say something there. Say it.
I was just laughing. I just leaned forward. That's funny. That's very true. That women don't ask for help, women don't ask for direction.
And then we wait until we're falling apart and we're
Yeah.
crying and our hair is falling out and we're screaming at the kids and we're starving because we don't know where the money's coming from. And then we go, I need help. So
I
do
know.
it early. And so, everyone that's here, thank you for joining us. Please tell your friends, anyone contemplating divorce. Every week it's going to be something different. The next one coming up is how to prepare for divorce. The first one was more contemplating divorce. If you're thinking about it, what are some things you have to think about? But how do you prepare? And we're going to go a little bit, dive into that. There's different topics. And you guys, if you have certain things you want us to cover, we're glad to do so. This is meant to be educational and something that you can take away. We are recording it, although I started late. Sometimes
Sorry,
tech
Rachel.
is going to kill me. But any of these things, go ahead and sign up if you want the recording of the first one. We do have that. I think one of you on here asked for that. You should have gotten it while we were meeting tonight. But I'll send out those recordings. And our goal is just to keep getting the information out there. We might do some repeat things. We might do some new things. We are going to talk about gray divorce. We're going to talk about domestic violence. We're going to talk about mediation and what to consider. There's so many, and we'll have different guest speakers. Tonight was Allison, but I love what she does. I'm going to keep sending people her way. Like if I could have gotten out of my divorce for $10,000 or $5,000 on my side, heck yeah, I would have done it.
Same.
Right? Same, especially for you. You were six
Take it
digits.
Take it and run. Yep.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. We're super excited to continue this. Shoot us an email. Where you sign up will shoot me emails specifically. So if you have emails or topics you want to cover, or if you want us to, get you in touch with someone, please feel free to reach out. Start somewhere and know that you're supported and you're taken care of, and don't do it alone. Okay.